Wallabies, too good for the Pumas, 27 points to 8 in the penultimate round of the Rugby Championship 2021. That's 3 wins on the trot for the Wallabies, and that puts them into second in the competition. All Blacks have already wrapped the competition up, but there's still 1 round left to go. The Pumas still without a point. They did get 1 try on the board in this one. But anyway, we'll go through some of the key events, some of the stats, and I'm going to go to bed because it's 12:15 in the morning. But it started with a missed penalty from Argentina, and Boffelli did come ever so close with a few of his kicks tonight. They could be looking at a score kind of in the teens. And obviously it's kind of hard to know how things would have panned out if different things had happened. It's maybe a little bit pointless to talk about, but honestly, if he gets at least 1 more of these kicks at certain points of the game, they're within touching distance. And if you're within touching distance, that puts a different kind of pressure on than if it's still kind of a 2-score game, but they never quite got to that point. So ominous start for Boffelli's first miss, and punished a few minutes later when Reece Hodge scored a pretty good try. That man Samu Kerevi is once again involved with the build-up. You can't underestimate just how good that guy is at getting go-forward ball. Gets the Wallabies well up over the advantage line. And then next phase, Hodge, to his credit, man, beats a defender or 2 on his route to the line as well from pretty close range. So 7 points to 0 for the Wallabies. There's a bit of handbags later on. So a bit of emotion in this game as well. I should have said, because I said it in the All Blacks Springboks review as well, good crowd. Really nice stadium. The pitch is probably a bit worse for wear, having a couple of international rugby games played on it, but I don't think kind of really to the detriment of the game. It just looks a bit ugly, but everything about that game was the ground and everything was really pleasing. So that was good to see. The handbag stuff was, I guess, just a bit of frustration boiling over. There was a good Argentinian contingent to the crowd as well, so maybe having that vocal support was, giving the Argentinian guys wanting to show something for the guys. I didn't really see what sparked it. There was a bit of pushing and shoving off the ball. Both sides kind of guilty of it. Kind of some usual suspects. But anyway, once the handbags are over and done with, we see Kerevi powering over for a try of his own. After he set up Hodges one, he actually converts one. That one was Ikitau pouncing on a ball. He kind of went close himself, and then Kerevi just burst over. Next phase, Timo had to check it, and initially it looked like he'd been held up. I think Cordero tried to get his arm under the ball, but couldn't quite get it held up. So Kerevi gets credited with that try, and 14-0. 14-0 after like 20 minutes, and it's starting to look like the Wallabies might really run away with this one. But Boffelli kicks a penalty on 20 minutes to at least kind of stop the flow of momentum, and the Aussies make a mistake from the restart. They kick it out in the full. So it is maybe a little bit of a shift. Stops that kind of flow which the Wallabies had. And they did go close though. The Wallabies on 31. Nick White maybe didn't know that the laws changed ages ago. That you can't score tries against the base of the post anymore, like the padding. Those haven't been tries for ages. But Nick White's attempt ends up being a no try. So Dave Rennie said after the game they missed some chances, and I'm sure they did. That's certainly one of them. They did opt, though, for 3 points, the Wallabies, because they went back for an advantage. So 17 points to 3 at half-time. The Wallabies are knocking on the door for at least, the final 10 minutes of that half. So they would have liked to walk away with more than 3, but I guess in the scheme of that game, you don't want to be putting yourself into a position where you've been down their end for ages and come away with nothing, because mentally that's a bit of a blow and a bit of a boost for your opposition, so they walked away with at least some points. So possession 64-36, territory 65-35, clean breaks 6-0, run meters 288 to 74, defenders beaten like 17-2. First half, it's the Wallabies, man. It's kind of the same old story. The Pumas are kind of relegated to defending while their opposition is just smashing into them. But that being said, things change. Second half, Montoya gets a really nice, well-worked maul try. Really much needed for the game. Unfortunately, the kick, the conversion, which would have made it a 7-point ball game, just drifts from going between to onto the post and out. So it doesn't go through. So it's 17-8. Kremer has a tackle which gets looked at on 48. The refs decide, that one was okay. They were checking it for no arms. Boffelli misses another penalty on 52. Again, that would have got them within one score. So I'm saying if he gets either of those three kicks, any of those three kicks, assuming things kind of play out the way they did, the Pumas are within touching distance, but they're not. And it gets worse for them because Kremer does get yellow carded about 7 minutes after he'd had that initial TMO look. This one, it's for a trip on Reece Hodge. It's a pretty dumb one. Stick your head out there. Stick your leg out there to trip him up. I don't know what he's thinking. It's a bit of a brain explosion. So they go a man down. James O'Connor comes on, which is a bit of good news because we haven't seen him in a Wallabies jumper for ages. I should say the Wallabies were in their green jumper today. Looks really slick, that one. So good to see. But yeah, he slots a penalty for the Wallabies, so it's 20 points to 8. So it's 3 points during the yellow card while Kremer's in the bin. But they don't score any more points while Kremer's in the bin. They do get Kellaway's try on 70, but I'm pretty sure by that point it was back to 15 on 15. So they had to go like 13 phases. Hooper had gone close, and then they got it out to James O'Connor, who put the inside ball into Kellaway. So good to see James O'Connor involved with that try. Good to see Kellaway because he's been so good at international level, man. He's really just taken to it duck to water. What's the saying? Taken to it like a duck to water. I think that's the saying. It's like 12:30, so give me a break. But yeah, Kellaway's look really good. Good reward for him to get on the scoreboard, basically, is what I'm saying, because he's just been so good for the Wallabies. But yeah, it's 27 to 8. So that's the full-time score. It's one of those ones where it could have been a bit close, but it wasn't. The Wallabies always kind of just a step ahead of the Pumas. The Pumas did show a bit to get some momentum. They did have a period in the second half where they were, having some ball and having a crack. It was similar to last week's game against the All Blacks, but they just didn't have the attack to really break down the opposition. And the Aussie defensive numbers come out looking really good from the way they shut the Pumas guys down. It finishes possession 56-44 and 58-42 the territory. So it's better from the Pumas in the second half because remember it was like 60-30 in the first half, 60-odd, 30-odd. So it finishes a bit closer, but still not close enough. Clean breaks 10-zip. Defenders beaten 30-9. So all the stats really lopsided. I mean, the Wallabies line-out still needs a bit of work. They missed 3 from 15. The Pumas missed 2 from 13, so equally not without issue. Wallabies defend 90%, make 100 tackles out of like 111. So pretty good stuff. As I said, they were defensively very sound. Pumas, as we've kind of gotten used to, have to get through a lot of defensive work. 183 attempted tackles. They make 152. So they're in the 80s as well, 83% for their tackle percentage. Penalties conceded 13-10. The count is not too bad. I talked up Kellaway, 3 clean breaks, 6 defenders beaten, 77 run meters. The guy's good, man. Get that guy the ball. Kerevi, 90 run meters, 2 clean breaks, 6 defenders beaten. Likewise, big contributor to the team. So Tomlin Thor wasn't the star of the show this time, but they all kind of put their hands up, I think. Medrano for the Pumas had 18 out of 20 tackles. I still think they need a bit more in attack. I still think they've got the players, but we're not quite seeing it from them. I'm not sure what the answer is for the Pumas. They just seem a little bit below par at the moment. I know it's not been easy for them. They've had guys go back to their club teams. They have had a few injuries. But I feel like they're not showing us quite what they can do. But I guess we'll find out in November when we see them take on some other teams other than the Sanzar teams. But anyway, good win for the Wallabies. Congratulations to them. 3 wins on the bounce. We'll see if they can make it 4 next week or if the Pumas can finally get off the scoreboard because they are currently still without a point in the competition itself. But anyway, you guys let me know your thoughts and I'll talk to you again soon. See you later.